And this is the moment when something internally is already going to shift. When you can see something and when you can realize something which you may only have known or which you only have felt in an unconscious way, and then you can see it because it's visible between the people you have set up. And it's not only visible, but it's possible to feel what's going to happen. It's the same way for the other people in the group. They can see the same, and they feel the same.
Yeah.
Very often this is very helpful, just have the possibility to get the support of the others who are creating that field that makes it possible to get up the family field. And there's a strong force in the field of the family as well, which is making possible that representatives feel something at the places where they are set, and that they can get in contact with emotions.
So would you say that empathy, the empathy that the empathy that emerges in the group is one of the main things that maintain the whole field of the system working and opening hearts or opening presences or opening consciousness?
I would say it's a mixture between there's a lot of compassion going along with
yes.
It's empathy. It's a lot of let's call it a lot of knowing of others as well, and there are a lot of people who stay immediately connected because they know something of what is going on there.
Yes.
And it's so human. All these things which emerge and which come up by the constellation. It's so easy to be understood by everybody because we know what's going on in the relation, what makes our longings feel disturbed, or what makes our feelings get up, or what's going to reject, and things like that.
Yeah, I think you are bringing something important, that compassion is, empathy is not enough, and compassion is not enough too, but compassion is something that it's a kind of feeling that it's a kind of feeling that or presence or openness you have for the other, as the other is, and not as you think the other is. You know, as the other is. It's like being present and open and with acceptance for the other. You know? So compassion, I think, is you must be even compassionate to yourself, to your own problems, your own feelings, you know. Compassion to yourself, to your mistakes, and compassion for others in the same system. You know?
And that the compassion is possible when there is an atmosphere of no judgment.
Yes.
That everything that's there can show up, can emerge. There's nobody saying, fine, bad,
yes,
this is right, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And if we can stay a little bit apart from these judgments, a lot of things can just show up. And then the work is getting much more easy, and more truth comes up. And
the fear goes down, and there's more openness, and and I think this compassion that you are talking about, compassion, non-judgmental compassion, I think is something we are learning from the East, from the Orient. I think it's a new position of being in life. You know? Is being.
That's the more the spiritual aspects of the work, or the spiritual aspects that's coming into the work, or help the work a lot. And for me, this is something that goes along very well with the family constellations, because when I work with people or start with people, I don't know what they bring up. I don't know what they're going to set up. I have no plan. I have no idea how to work with it. And even when the constellation starts and people set up the representatives and everybody stands at a certain place, I have no idea where to go to or how to get along. I have no master plan of things.
Yes,
like that.
yes. The system will show.
Yeah.
You know?
So it needs some allowance of not knowing. It needs some allowance of not judging anybody.
Yes.
And this is very difficult very often for the people themselves, because they have the judgments and they say, oh, my grandfather had been very cruel to my grandmother and to my mother, or father did something wrong, or my sister behaved very, very terrible with me, and things like that. And when we work with the constellations, we get some deeper look into what had really happened, and then we can see that there are no bad people.
Yes.
So
Usually I used to say, when I work, I used to say that in this work we have no innocent people, but we don't have guilty people. Not guilty, not innocent. Let's work in what is there.
Yeah.
Without judgment means there is no innocent and there is no guilty.
Yeah,
So let's work with what is there. You know?
Yeah, I would say there are no bad people, and nobody is just doing things wrong because they want to do things wrong or want to do something to others. But when we look at what really had happened, we can see that everybody has a certain history that makes him behave in a certain way. And that's not some sort of excusation or saying you didn't do wrong and everything's right or everything's fine. No, bad things happen and people do bad things to others, but there's a history going along with that. And this is very important for the people, especially who work with the constellations, just to see that even those people whom I think to be the bad ones in my family, they couldn't do better because they didn't receive something from their history, or they had been suffering from similar things, and when you can see these things, you get some sort of understanding which makes it much more easy just to accept and not to judge.
Yes, yes.
And then you get more possibility just to accept that something within you is the way it is, and even those things which you don't like or which we don't like, and we have more possibility just to say, okay, it's the way it is, and I'm interested how it comes that it is that way, and not just saying I have to change it or I'm not okay if it is the way it is.
So it's just an acceptance of who you are.
Yes, in a certain way.
And when we can get as deep as that, and then the heart is present.
Yeah, definitely.
When we can get as deep as that. So there is a belief. I think it is a belief. We believe, or we have the experience that underneath all the chaos, all the difficulties of the negative feelings, etc., underneath that, there is somebody with a heart that maybe suffered before and then developed defense against that suffering. Yeah. And when they find a place to be with the suffering, and a place that welcomes the suffering, gives a continent for that, and then people really can be compassionate and calm down and recover the deep self they have.
And then that means having a compassion with yourself as well, and compassion even with with a young child. You know, sometimes in the constellations I have always not sometimes I always have a representative of the person who's doing the constellation being set up as well.
In the place, yes.
And sometimes I just take the person from outside, confronting him with his representative and saying, this one who's coming from outside is the adult one, and the other one is the child. And just getting the person coming from outside, the adult one, the adult self, possibility to make contact with the child, and with all the compassion for the child. And very often this is a very intense moment, just to have a look at that little boy or little girl one had been, and opening the heart for that one. Sometimes seeing all the aspects like young children have, all the vivid parts. And
it's a kind of integration.
It's
like instead of rejecting a part of you, you integrate that part.
You integrate that part.
And then you are more organized.
And you integrate as well, or you accept as well all the difficulties that child may have had during his childhood.
Yes.
Because father died early, or being rejected from someone, or having to replace someone in the family, or things like that. And getting some compassion and some integration of that part of that child within us, and staying friendly with that one.
Yes.
And not criticizing
including in yourself, and not rejecting by judgment some part of you, but this is part of the tree. It's part of the trunk of the tree, so it's part of, as long as you don't cut one part of yourself, you know, and you can integrate, then you feel more organized and more compassion for yourself and for the world.
And this is a very important aspect as well, because when we look, we can see that most of our difficulties in life, it's not about the adult part in us. So the adult part is capable to get along with difficulties and conflicts or other ideas of other people. But when we really get in conflicts or starting to fight with someone or in a relationship, there's always that that part in us which is coming from the early times, that didn't feel seen or didn't feel loved or didn't feel treated in the right way, and this is the one who's always coming up and starting to fight maybe with some other child, interfering with the child of the other.
Yes. Okay, Frank, are you satisfied? Is this good enough? Yes?
I think so.
We have already almost 40 minutes.
Okay.
It's a lot of time, so then, is it okay?
Okay.
So I appreciate you came here to my office for this dialogue, and I think it was a pretty nice and profound dialogue. We got with our ideas into a beautiful point of compassion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, Frank.
Thank you.
Thank you.